Chapter 4 of Little Viking Horse. I give this copyright to Coeffer Helen Bax for her permission and to credit it to Little Viking Horse. Chapter 4. When the biting fence had finally come free from his legs and the poles had stopped chasing him, he became aware of another human voice in the field, a gentle, younger voice. "Easy, boy," he called. "I'll get him, Mr. Jones." He's scared as oh. "Stupid, more like," said Jones, lobbing at a halter to the boy. "Fine, you sort him out. I've got things to do. He's made me late already. And Roger?" "Yes, Mr. Jones?" "None of this horse whispering, hugging nonsense. He's a horse, not a teddy bear. Catch him, put him back, and get on with your chores. I pay you to sweep the yard and shovel crap, not all that communing with nature rubbish." "Yes, Mr. Jones," the boy said, keeping a steady gaze on Fleeka. Fleeka stood watching the boy, his sides heaving as his breath slowly returned to normal. The boy had a mop of sandy blonde hair and blue eyes, not sharp and piercing like Jones's, but silver blue like a clear winter sky. He was not as macy and looked very small compared to the looming figure of Jones, who was now striding back towards the yard. Fleeka watched cautiously as the boy stepped towards him, between him and the two other horses, his nostrils widening as his breath in the boy's scent. The boy made a low, murmuring noise and stepped a little closer, reaching out to touch the side of Fleeka's head. Fleeka felt no need to move. The presence of the boy calmed him. Running his hand down Fleeka's neck, and the boy slipped his arm around him and held him in a hug. It felt strange, but Fleeka didn't feel trapped. Somehow feeling the boy's heart beating as he passed against him made Fleeka feel safe. He stayed absolutely still as the boy slid the halter over his nose and buckled to its place. Then the boy just stood with him a while, no pressure, just standing and breathing. There was something about the boy who demanded nothing in the moment. Fleeka's breath slowed, and in a few moments it was as if he were breathing as one. This was a boy he could trust. This boy, Roger, Fleeka felt sure of it. The two big horses seemed very happy with this afternoon antics, and were still fighting. As Roger led Fleeka back into the paddock, when Roger slipped the halter of Fleeka and was reluctant to leave him, he nodded to the boy's hands, his large eyes and soft to his breathing calm. Roger smiled and rubbed his forehead. "Nice little fella, aren't you?" said Roger. Stepped back, and his eyes looked eyeing him in the back and down. "Strong too, but the looks of it. But you're as clever as well. Look at you with those big brown eyes." Roger's gazing draft off the moment, and a small smile played around his lips. "I wish you could be mine," he began, but when he gave a little shake of his head, and scratching Fleeka behind his ears, he turned and headed to the yard. Fleeka followed the boy for a few steps. He wanted to stay with the small, quiet human, but his belly informed him that he was time to eat, and the boy disappeared into the barn. Fleeka dropped his head to graze, filling his empty stomach with some nice, tasty grass, and with his newly found respect for the fence that bites, he trotted over to say a proper hello to the other horses. Fleeka had not seen really big horses before, not close up. At Philippe's farm, where he had been born, were all Icelandic horses, and none of them were huge as those. He nickled a soft greeting. The big black horse snorted and looked down his long, broad nose at Fleeka. "Who are you?" "I'm Little Viking Horse," human called me. "Fleeka." "It means flying one," replied Fleeka. "Partly I'm an Icelandic horse," he said, showing off his tolt and tossing his mane. We special horse of the Vikings." "A horse," the red mare snorted. "You are not a horse. You're much too small. Are you sure you're not a Shetland pony or a donkey?" And she trotted away across the field, and the black horse, following, tossed his head. Fleeka wasn't all sure he was like being called a pony. Not like he minded Shetland ponies or donkeys or big horses come to that, as long as they were not as rude as the two other he had met. So it was a small horse he didn't mind. He knew that an Icelandic horse, the strong, fast, and noble horses of warriors. His mom had told him so. It would be an awesome colt too, and he could be the super fast, flying pace. That's how he got the human given name. Philippi had seen him in the paddock one day racing with his friends, Bossy and Thor, and he had not shot past them all in the flying pace and earned his name. Bossy, suddenly he missed his friends. Where was Gladry and Ragnia and his mom, Fleeka, jerked his head up and scanned the field. His heart pumped hard. He called out a half-hopeful whiny, but he was willing too far away to hear them. He wondered if he would ever see them ever again. A few days later, Jones sat down in electric fencing, allowed Fleeka to work with the other horses. The big black horse who chased him the first day when he was grazing in the middle of the field. He really is huge, thought Fleeka. Who's the big fat cub? He asked Lena. Don't let him hear you calling him that, said Lena. His name is Beanie, and he's the boss horse. Don't mess with him, and he's the red mare. She's Ginger, but stay out of her way. She's a polo pony who's used to getting her own way. Fleeka pricked his ears in Beanie's direction. He's big, but he doesn't seem mean. He thought, I just needed to let him know he's the boss. Fleeka pressed his nose up to Jinx and braved for a minute. Are you a new forest pony too? He asked. I'm not a pony at all, of any sort. I'm a racehorse, said Jinx. Jones wanted me to do cross-country courses, but he said I don't jump big enough. I jumped fine once he'd fallen off. Jinx snorted and playfully nipped Fleeka's nose. Fleeka's head shot up in the air and he tossed his mane. Then he nipped Jinx as a return. Lena stepped smartly out of the way as Jinx and Fleeka gobbled past, biting at each other's legs. It's good to be able to charge about and play fight with his new herd. The next morning, Jones could be heard barking orders to Roger in the yard, and then after he had him returning to the way half the hour, he called to the boy, Roger, get the horse ready. Yes, Mr. Jones, said Jinx, and Lena stopped gazing as the boy approached the field. Jinx's nostril tensed. Jones is going to ride, he snorted. Fleeka twitched nervously as the tickle of attention passed through the herd. So what? Said Fleeka, a little more boldly than he actually felt. I've done this riding thing before. It's not so hard. You haven't met the real Jones yet, snorted Jinx, taking the 2 steps back as Roger approached the little group with a halter in his hand. Now you two, not today, Jinx. As it's Fleeka's turn, he said, slipping the halter over Fleeka's ears. He said Jinx in a little scratch before leading Fleeka away. We got to get you fitted, he said to Fleeka. Jones says you are not muscled up enough. I told him you are still young, but he... Stop jiggling to the horse and come on, barks Jones. Yes, Mr. Jones. Roger didn't say any more, but as he got Fleeka ready to give him a lots of reassuring scratches, he brushed the mud from Fleeka's coat, paying close attention to where the girth would go, picked the mud stones from Fleeka's feet, and put in the salt on the saddle. He held the bit up to Fleeka's mouth, and Fleeka took it between the teeth, and the boy slid the leather bridle over his ears. Fleeka liked the boy. He talked to him in his body and his fleeing, even when he was not actually speaking. Horse talk, the horse called it, and Fleeka's mom had told him that only human-sensitive and clear humans could do it. Even then, they were just beginners compared to horses. Every horse wished for a horse-talking human of their owner. The one day Fleeka hoped to have one too. Roger chuckled as he struggled to get the bridle over Fleeka's huge forelock. Fleeka liked the sound of Roger's laugh. It made him feel relaxed. Roger bucked up the noseband and slipped into the 2 fingers between the band and Fleeka's nose. That's too tight, he said, and led Fleeka to where Jones was waiting. Jones looked Fleeka up and down. Then he tightened the noseband. Fleeka's mouth was strapped shut, and his soft lips were pressed uncomfortably against the bit in the mouth. Jones glared at the boy. Roger quickly lowered his eyes. Neither of them spoke, but he seemed to Fleeka that a lot was being said. As Jones swung into the saddle, his feet jabbed into Fleeka's ribs, and Fleeka jumped towards the surprise. He's got a sharp jab in the mouth. To return to Jones yanked on the reins. Fleeka stopped dead and chewed nervously on the bit. He was starting to feel confused about what Jones wanted him to do. He had to keep shifting his feet and stay balanced as Jones lunged around in the saddle, pointing out the long list of jabs for Roger to do while they were out. Right, said Jones, after he finished listing the orders. Let's see if we can get some fire in this horse's belly. And that's it for Chapter 4.